Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Preimesberger, editor of eWEEK. Thanks for joining us for this latest version of eWEEK eSPEAKS, the series where we talk to IT thought leaders. Our leader today is Doug Matthews. Doug is Vice President of Product Management at Veritas Software in Silicon Valley. Doug, welcome.
Hi, thanks, Chris, and thanks to the audience for spending some time with us today.
Yeah. Doug, tell me, just give us a high level on the company in case our listeners don't know what Veritas does.
Sure. Yeah. So Veritas is a company that's really founded on infrastructure software for large enterprise, organized around providing protection, availability, and insights into infrastructure so that customers can ensure that their mission critical applications stay online, their data is fully protected, and that they can gain valuable insights from both their data and their infrastructure to make better business decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's nothing more important than protecting data these days. I mean, companies are becoming data companies. I mean,
Absolutely.
It was a while back, well, you got to be a software company. Well, maybe more of a data company now because that's the lifeblood of your business. That's the lingua franca of everything that we do is data. And Veritas has a great reputation for protecting data and making it available to the right people at the right times. I've been covering storage at eWEEK for 15 years. And Veritas was one of the first companies that was shown to me as being just a real stalwart in the business. And you got a lot of customers around the world. You're growing still. It's been an impressive company to watch all these years.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We're very proud of our heritage and past, not to mention all the really great work that we're doing now to continue to protect and ensure that customers have access to their data.
What is Veritas doing to innovate right now? Because so much has changed in the landscape with more and more data being gathered from more and more locations. It has to be protected. That means that there's more and more attack surfaces for the bad guys. What is Veritas offering when it comes to fighting off things like ransomware?
Yeah, so you right there, you just named two really interesting trends. You know, the first trend is how do you better protect your data, and the second trend is data keeps growing and growing and growing. So they're counterbalancing trends. How do I better protect it from this new threat surface versus how do I control this sprawl of data? You mentioned ransomware in particular. Ransomware is a very clear focus for us. What we realized is when we looked at the overall technology landscape and talking with customers that are wrestling with this product or this problem in the large enterprise, we see that ransomware attacks are dramatically up. And in fact, last year, I think the FBI quoted a statistic, something along the lines of $3.5 billion of large enterprise impact in 2019. And you know that's coming from the average downtime of 16 days, ballparkish, when one of these attacks is successful. So much previous focus has been put on protection, keeping the bad actors out. You know, I read an article, I think by you, back in April around SACE, right? So, if you think about SACE as a trend, it's all about keeping the bad actors out with things like SWG and firewalls of service, and it's keeping your data in and protected with things like CASB and so forth.
Yeah, Doug, can you just describe or define SACE for people who might not know?
Oh yeah, sure. So SACE is Secure Access Service Edge. It's kind of an industry term that's kind of coming along. Right. It's a collection of thought around how to really provide a secure edge in the virtual world, because we no longer have the well-defined perimeter of our four walls. It's become a virtual perimeter.
Right. Edge computing is where the green field is. There's no question about it. IoT, edge computing, as IT continues to branch out and thread out all over the place. Yeah. More and more devices are automatic devices are recording info and sending it in to edge computing sites and data centers. And it's like, how in the world do you control all the flow of all this data and transport it to the right place?
Right.
That's what Veritas and other companies do, and you do it very well. Can you
Right.
talk? Yeah, can you talk a little bit about dark data too, and how that plays into all of this? And is that really the foundation for a lot of the ransomware demands that are going on?
Yeah, so dark data, when we define dark data, we look at and have done some analysis and realize that over half of the world's data is what we call dark. It basically means that we don't understand what's in the data or the value of that data. The company is just unaware. Because this data sprawl is happening so quickly, we're ending up with these large pools of data sets that we're just really are not visible to the general community. We call them dark. They because we don't understand what's in them, we don't really understand the right governance policy to apply to them. So Veritas has introduced capabilities to allow you to scan through that data, classify that data, and then dynamically apply the right protection policies to that data to ensure that you don't have data leakage of data that's important, whether it's GDPR related, PII related, PCI, et cetera, HIPAA, you name it.
Okay, now a lot of these processes, are they automated within the platform?
Yep. So the classification is automated, and we're working through the automation of the actual operational processes. So we have some and continuing to evolve our ability to automate moving forward.
Does Veritas have a menu of functions that it can offer a client on the platform and that they can pick and choose from, or is it a single platform with everything on it?
So it's a menu of capabilities that are kind of organized around that availability, protection, and insights that we talked about earlier. And what you find is in that menu of those three kind of themes, there are capabilities that are discrete elements of work that fit a particular buyer. So therefore, that buyer could be able to consume the element that's interesting to them. Like, for example, we're talking about the identification of data. Maybe they want to identify data that lives on a Veritas file system or in the Veritas Net Backup product, or maybe they want to do it in primary storage or in a cloud application. So depending on what they want to do, they can acquire the right element.
So in other words, all the solutions, sounds to me like all the solutions that Veritas offers are basically customized. Is that true?
They're customizable, right? So they can fit the need of the buyer themselves, right? So we have always been kind of that heterogeneous company. We want to support what our customers want to run. Perhaps they want to run our backup solution, so we want to make sure they get all the support for that solution that possible that is best in breed. But maybe they want to choose a different backup solution or a different storage management solution. We want to make sure they're supported there too and be able to solve those same business needs.
It's all about choice, and it sounds like Veritas allows choice all over the place. That's great.
Absolutely, which is really important when you talk about a heterogeneous environment. Kind of back to that, ransomware conversation, right? We can't just protect the backup space. We have to be able to protect the entire infrastructure and its multi-domain complex architecture, right? Whether it's protection of the infrastructure and the secondary storage, whether it's detection of the malware when it comes in, whether it's cleaning up or mitigation of the malware once it's in, or its recovery, which is of course our bread and butter and heritage of being able to recover very quickly at massive data center scale across a heterogeneous environment. We have to be able to support it all.
Wow. I don't know how you do it, but Veritas, Veritas.com for people who are interested in taking a look at the product line. Is that it? I think so.
Sure.
Okay, great. Doug Matthews, I want to thank you very much for your time spent today with eWEEK eSPEAKS, and really appreciate your expertise and just kind of reconnecting us with Veritas. I appreciate that.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Really enjoyed the opportunity to catch up.
Okay. And for everybody following along today, thank you very much for joining, and have a great rest of your eWEEK. Thanks for joining us on eWEEK eSpeaks. Go to eWEEK.com to hear more conversations with IT thought leaders.